Hey, Christy here from Loom Crafted Fiber Arts. Today I want to show you how to do my new stitch called the Expression of Dance Stitch. Excuse me. Now this inspiration for this stitch came from Deborah Shaw, one of our designers in the Loom knitting community. I had not named this stitch yet, and she saw it and she said, that reminds me of some people dancing, holding hands or locking arms in a line. And after I looked at it, I could see what she's saying. This kind of looks like the head of a person, and this is the body. And then out from here is their arms. And they're locked together or holding hands and dancing in a line. So that's where the inspiration for this stitch came from. And I just wanted to thank Deborah for the inspiration. I appreciate it. And a really cool thing about this stitch, I think, is it can be reversible, which is always really good. I'll show you the back side. This stitch looks good on the back side too, in my opinion. Now, you might not think so. You work it and see what you think of the back side. And it might depend on the weight of yarn you use too. That's another thing. I would not advise, as the designer, now you can do whatever you want to do, but as the designer working with this stitch, I would not advise going above a 4-weight yarn, because we're going to be stacking one of the stitches and it's going to make it too bulky if you use a bulkier weight than a 4. But if you want to try it, fine with me. So this is, like I said, a Caron Simply soft 4-weight, and it was made on the Alimelt green small gauge setting for this loom. This is an adjustable loom that you can take the pegs out and adjust your gauge. And I will be doing a video later on how to make this hat on a small gauge, one of their small gauge looms, Alimelt's looms. And this hat I made with a 1x1 ribbon, and then of course the Expression of Dance stitches above the brim. And this is a child size. But I really think this, see, if you put your hand in here, you can see some of the laciness too. And you can see a little bit of a crisscross X design up here. I just think, and you can see where the stack stitch comes through there. It's also coming from there. So, and then you have these horizontal lines. So I don't know, might be. If it is, this would be great for a scarf, something that you want, you know, that it might show the back side of the fabric. Really, kind of like my Berlea lace, it could be endless of what you could do with it. Make a beautiful pillow stitch, I think, maybe. Anyway, we are going, and by the way, Tuesday, I have the flat panel version coming out. I'll be working it on another Alimelt loom, and it'll be a small gauge too, but it'll be using a 3-weight. So that'll be Tuesday this week. Okay, so let's get started. I'm just going to cast on a few stitches to show you how to do the pattern, and then we're going to do like we went all the way around the loom and do the next row and so forth. I do that to kind of save time. So unless I'm doing a full pattern, you know, since this is just a stitch, it saves me time. And you too. So, this is a 6-row repeat. We're going to start with the first row. I was looking at my notes. The first row, peg 1, we're going to E-wrap knit stitch. And then we're going to knit it off, just like that. The second peg, we are going to purl over 3 times. That's what I was talking about, stacking the stitch. I'll purl over 3 times. We'll scoop up from the bottom, pull that top loop down, flip it over the peg, and snug it up. And we're going to do that 3 times on this second peg. Scoop up from the bottom, pull down your new loop, flip that new loop back over your peg, and snug it up. One more time. That was 2. This is 3. Okay. So we E-wrap this one and knit it off. We purled over this one 3 times. And that's all you're going to do for row 1. Go alternate. E-wrap, purl over 3 times. E-wrap, purl over 3 times. E-wrap, purl over 3 times. So in essence, all your odd pegs are going to be E-wraps. All your even pegs are going to be purl overs. So let me do a few more examples here of row 1. E-wrap, knit off. 4, which is an even peg, I'm going to purl over 3 times. So we're going to E-wrap around, scoop up from the bottom, pull that yarn, that loop down we just E-wrapped around, flip it over, snug it up. Don't snug it up too tight, barely hug that peg like it's fragile. Even though it's not, just pretend it is. Because you don't want those purl overs to be too tight. If you do, you're going to have trouble flipping your loops over when you go back around on row 2. So we're going to do that again. I'm not sure how many I got here. I think I got 1 or 2. Let's see. 1, 2. Okay, 1 more. And if you look and you don't know for sure, you can see there's 1 loop. Let's see if I can show you. There's 1 loop right there, and there's the other loop. So we need 1 more. And that would be 3. And then we're going to E-wrap, knit off, and purl over 3 times. So I'm going to give you a little tip with purl overs. When you purl over, I E-wrap, and then I hold my yarn between my pointer finger and my index finger. And when I E-wrap around and hold it between there, I don't put tension on it. I give it some slack like this. And then I scoop up, and if you feel like if you're holding your yarn up like this, you feel like it's going to pop off your loop, just pull it down like this, but still leave slack in it. Pull it down or push it down toward the base of your loom. Scoop, flip it over, and then you can control the tension also by your working yarn being between those 2 fingers. So let's do that again. Between those 2 fingers, your working yarn. See, I got slack in it and not pulling it tight. Flipping that loop over, and you see that sliding, so you can control that. And then flip it over and snug it up. 1 more time, that will be 3. So you can relax your fingers and push them down toward the bottom of the loom. Okay, so that's row 1. E-wrap first peg, purl over 3 on the second peg. E-wrap, purl over 3. E-wrap, purl over 3. All the way around, row 1. So now we're going to pretend like we've done all of row 1. And now we're on row 2. Row 2, we're going to do the exact opposite of what we did row 1. So we're going to purl over 3 times on peg 1. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to knit, E-wrap knit stitch, and then knit it off. Purl over 3. 1, 2, 3. E-wrap knit stitch, purl over 3, 1, 2, 3, and then E-wrap knit, and then knit that off. Okay, so that's row 2. So let's recap row 2. We're going to do the opposite of row 1. Purl over 3, E-wrap 1, purl over 3, E-wrap 1, purl over 3, E-wrap 1. Okay, just the opposite of row 1. Now, I meant row 2. I said row 3, I'm sorry. Now we're on row 3. Row 3, we're going to knit 1, purl 1. So when I say knit 1, I mean E-wrap knit stitch. E-wrap, peg 1, and then we're going to purl peg 2. E-wrap, knit it off, and purl. To purl, you scoop down, pull your working yarn up, take your existing loop, the one that's on the peg, off the peg, push it behind, and put your new loop back on and snug it up. And then knit and purl. That's row 3. Okay. So knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, all the way around the loom. All the way around. Now we're on row 4. Row 4, we're going to purl all pegs. Easy peasy. Purl all pegs. So real quick, I will purl all these. And when I get done with this, you'll have a little sneak peek of what the flat panel is going to look like for Tuesday. Okay, so that's row 4, purl all pegs. Row 5. Row 5, we are going to E-wrap all pegs. Again, easy peasy, all pegs. E-wrap and knit them off. You can E-wrap them all at one time. You can E-wrap a few at a time, doesn't matter. You just E-wrap that whole row around for row 5. Row 6, I didn't knit that one off. Row 6, we're back to peg 1. Another easy peasy row. I told you it's going to be easy after row 1 and 2. Purl all pegs. That simple. And that is how you do the expression of dance stitch in the round. Okay. Now, when I start the flat panel Tuesday, I won't go straight into the stitch. It has to have a border. And I work with different borders trying to come up with one. I will show you what I come up with. And if you want to try something different, that's entirely up to you. But I will show you what I did. So there we go. Let's recap one more time. Row 1. E-wrap the first peg. Purl over 3 times on the second peg. And then you're going to alternate. E-wrap, purl over 3 times, E-wrap, purl over 3 times. Or if you want to remember it this way, if you mark them, you're going to E-wrap the first row on all the odd pegs, and all the even pegs you're going to purl over 3 times. Okay, that's row 1. Row 2, you're going to do the opposite. You're going to purl over the odd pegs and E-wrap knit stitch and knit off the even pegs. So you purl over, knit, purl over, knit, purl over, knit. Exactly opposite of what you did row 1. Row 3, you're going to knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, alternating every peg all the way around. That's all. Row 4, purl all pegs all the way around. Row 5, E-wrap all pegs all the way around. Row 6, you're going to do the same as row 4. You're going to purl all pegs. So once you get past those first 2 rows, and they're not hard, they're just a little time consuming because you're purling over those 3 stitches, but as you can see, it's very worth it because it's a beautiful stitch. Very worth it. So that is your expression of dance stitch. And I will see you again Tuesday. I am going to have a video coming up soon. I meant to do it before now, but some things have been going on. Some of you know what's been going on, and that's why I'm going to do the video to update you on what's going on my channel. I'm going to be making some changes. I'm going to be changing some playlists up. I have talked to the group that I'm in, that I own, or that I have, however you want to put it, on Facebook, my LC Fiber Arts group. And I've polled some of them to ask them what they wanted, and or what they'd like to see, and I'm going to take their advice. I threw some things out at them, and they don't hold back. They tell me what they want, and that's what I want them to do, because I like for y'all to communicate with me. It helps me help you be a better loom knitter, and helps me be more efficient. So I'm going to have a meeting. I may have a meeting. I don't know. I have a meeting on my group. Oh me, I'm tired. I'm going to have a follow-up on this channel, and we'll be talking some more about some things that's been going on. Not in depth, but I'll be mentioning some things and some changes that's going to be made soon, so, on this channel. So look forward to it. It'll be probably sometime this week after the flat panel version of this stitch comes out. I don't know exactly when, but it'll be soon. And then I'll be talking to about that cowl that everybody knows, wondering why it ain't finished. We'll be talking about that too, so hang in there with me. I'm working on it. Thank you much. Have a wonderful day. And for all of y'all out there that have been dealing with the rain and the flooding, my heart is with you and their families. There's people missing, people that have died. My heart's with you, and prayers and the families. Bye-bye.